In today's video, we will be discussing the streamer Destiny.
Internet communities, especially online ones that do like political debate and video games, are very much like big boys clubs. So it's not enough to just say you can't be misogynistic. Always going to be an othering effect on women.
There's a lot of stuff that you're saying that is a part of misogyny. It's almost like obvious. Like any woman will tell you that.
A woman will, yeah, but they're not in these spaces, and a lot of the guys don't know. Yeah.
I think what that requires is just empathy.
If you do not know who he is, it's okay. I will tell you.
No drama, but Brittany talks about you in regards to relationship advice starting here till at least 8 minutes later. Don't get upset. Oh no.
I'm open to criticizing all of my friends for their choices, but then look, Abbott tried to come to Steven and say your hedonistic lifestyle isn't working, and Destiny got not only like offended and defensive, but literally was not open to the conversation. Did not.
Bro, I'll talk about anything all the time ever. Are we serious? No, I just brought up Rolo.
Yeah, you just brought up Rolo. So then the question stands, did you Lauren Southern? Hey, you brought it up.
I feel like I have more conversations about my lifestyle than literally any other person on the internet.
Destiny is a content creator here on YouTube who has made the rounds as a combative debate bro and somebody who's involved in politics for the Democrats and the liberal side.
I don't think you know what American values are. I don't think you know what this country was founded or built upon. And I think you guys are obsessed with a cult leader.
But I need to make an argument today that we need to stop interacting with people that are misogynistic and apologists. Destiny has once again proven that he has not changed and that he is willing to throw women under the bus, he's willing to throw minorities under the bus, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to win, even if that means at the expense of everybody else. I am not making any accusations about Destiny, but I am going to tell you what he told me in private and was confirmed later by others, and things he told me in group dynamics. None of the people that were there during those group conversations will be mentioned, but if they would like to come forward to confirm what he told all of us and what we all know to be true based off what he told us, you can do that, but I will not name names because right now we need to focus on Destiny. One of the things I want to avoid is something that he does often, which is puts the blame on everybody else and away from himself.
Videos.
So she's doing it.
I don't know. I don't know about that,
Well,
right?
I think that could be pretty. I think she's a person that likes to see good in people, and I think she does see good in people, and I think
But
that's a good thing.
then how do you come away with these opinions of me? Am I really that retarded that I can't see myself so much?
Introspection is really hard because you would have to face the ugliness within yourself to transform yourself. He's talking to the woman that he cheated on and gaslit, and now they're divorced, about why I think he might not be doing the greatest things to the people around him.
And I want to make sure that we are focused on him since he is in many ways the ringleader of a lot of these people. And two, he is responsible for his actions and his actions alone. Since Destiny is involved in politics and given the way that this election went, I just want to send a note to the Democrats that we do not need an Andrew Tate on the left. So here's what I know. Present tense Destiny, the person who just a few days ago mocked and belittled an assault victim, someone who is a part of his own group, made it clear that he is willing to be a apologist and misogynist like he's always been. Recently, somebody in his community named Kelly Jean, who is an assault victim, came to him because of his paid mod, Forethought.
I'd rather not bring up the details of a sexual assault that relates to me.
I mean,
out of preference.
That's fair. I don't think you should either.
I was just checking if he's referring to like a thing that actually happened, right?
Yes, yes.
For those in my audience who are listening and not watching, I'm going to read out the text messages so you understand the context of those messages and why they were so disgusting. Please heed a trigger warning related to assault. These messages are from Forethought to Kelly Jean. Kelly Jean, stop pretending you're hurt by sexism. Your greatest aspiration was being an esports victim. Second message, Kelly Jean, holy no wonder you wish you got You've got literally nothing going on to be doing this at 40.
Is Big Steve there in the background?
Yeah, he's in the background.
Yep,
Yeah,
just hanging out.
Hey, Big Steve, you've read these DMs. The question is the $15 a week truly worth it for this man to be running the like it's his own? There is people that will do it that you trust for free. You do not have to give mod back to me or anyone else. There has to be better people that do not say like this. There has to.
Yeah,
why did he only send this to you because you got banned?
Darius, shut the up and let Destiny speak, you stupid.
Forethought's been running the subreddit for a couple years. The subreddit has been spam reported, brigaded, attacked by a whole bunch of external communities, and somehow he's managed to keep the subreddit alive. I don't really know anybody else with a record of like moderating a subreddit that I could trust in that position.
Forethought wrote her disgusting messages that I think any reasonable and rational person would find deplorable. When confronted with this by even people in his friend group, including Dan, who's now infamously known for taking down Twitch, Destiny laughed. He belittled Kelly Jean and he made misogynistic jokes. When Kelly Jean came to him, when Dan pressured him, when people in his community asked him why is he letting this pass, he basically said that Forethought was a good moderator of his Reddit and he didn't see the issue because it happened basically, quote, in private.
Forethought thinks he's like somehow winning the battle after doing all this with Kelly. So settle down.
Please pull it up. Do you stand by these logs, Forethought?
Hell yeah, 100%. There's no treatment of Kelly Jean that is incorrect.
That means that you've dehumanized me to the point where I am like what?
God, yes,
Nothing.
I've said that.
You do realize that has a knock-on effect to everyone else that reads this shit, right? You can't just like see this in a vacuum and be like, I hate Kelly, therefore saying anything to Kelly is fine, because it does have effects elsewhere.
All the young men in the chat who are might be getting into their first like relations with women and
Yeah, sorry for the Elliot Rodger of the future that I'm inspiring.
Just a reminder, Elliot Rodger, who he just mentioned, was the infamous incel who gunned down women for not dating him.
It's not just
Wait,
that,
hold on,
but the whole idea is that if there's no wrong way to treat Kelly Jean or whatever, if that's her mentality when it comes to her, who's to say that doesn't expand to other people if you're mad at
You'd
them?
have to work really hard to get in the Kelly Jean camp.
Can we just why is it okay to do whatever you want
to Kelly Jean?
Oh yeah,
you'd have to ask Destiny that.
I mean, it's Kelly Jean.
That's not that.
Yeah, but if you have that mentality, Destiny, then yeah, he's gonna copy it, isn't he?
I think this is a reflection of his character in present tense, and I'm disappointed but not surprised.
Because I've been wanting to talk to you about the anti-misogyny arc for a long time, and I feel like I actually have a lot of thoughts about essentially like how do we achieve this on like the internet, particularly in a political space that is like pretty dominantly masculine. I think there's an intention within DGG, from what I can tell, from what you say and what people say, to make women feel comfortable in this space. Is that correct?
There's an intention from me. There's probably an intention from part of my community, but I would say it's probably a minority.
Why are the feminine traits that are already embodied within this space not celebrated and respected as much as when the masculine traits are embodied?
Because I think the thing that is the most attractive to this space, where it excels in the most, is in the combative masculine traits.
Yes. Is there a way to see a appreciation for feminine traits?
Possibly, but that's not what I excel in. So that's never going to be, or at least that's not what I'm like really good in. So that's not going to be what people are going to tune into me for, probably.
Eurodite, when you're talking about feminine traits, what do you think the gain would be? What's the measurable difference? If the community was more accepting of feminine traits, what would the benefit to women in the community be? I actually think that most of the issues that I see in DGG are from not like being accepting of feminine traits.
I guess I'm postulating a hypothesis. I suspect that if feminine traits viewed as more respect-worthy and more often, even just like in casual ways of like, I mean, like, awesome, that's great. Like if you go to, I don't want to say your name without upsetting people, but if you go to Brittany Simon's streams, well, there's lots of issues that you might have with it. It is a very feminine community, right? And if you look at the way that the chat comments, it's obviously going to be very different. If we saw feminine traits being respected more, that we would see retention of women potentially increase because they would feel like traits that they probably are more naturally inclined toward. I don't
know if that's valuing feminine traits though, so much as people gathering around somebody that embodies feminine traits. Like I think it follows from the creator.
For the last 2 years, I've been holding on to information that Destiny told me, that people confirmed, and as much as I thought I would never have to say it, apparently he has decided not to change, to double down, and to continue being a misogynist and apologist. And since Destiny is so involved in politics, I want to make it clear this isn't somebody you want as an ally, as he's willing to throw anyone under the bus who gets in his way. The focus of my channel is to harm reduce, and so here I am participating in what I believe is harm reduction. I can only hope that people in the future take my message into consideration before working, participating in Destiny's events, or God forbid dating him, given his track record in abusive women. I've met Destiny once in Miami after a few content creators and I decided to collab. It was overall a great event.
My guess is in 2 to 3 months, what I said was Lava's going to have a disagreement with Max over something because she is opinionated, even if she's like malleable. And she's going to realize when she has a disagreement, she's going to think she's safe to do it, but there's going to be a disagreement. He's going to not budge at all. She's going to get increasingly aggravated. She's going to realize, oh, he is a crazy narcissist. And then I don't know if she'll come back to me. If she might be too prideful.
Do you want her to come back?
Not really. It would take a lot.
Are you going to accept her?
It would take a lot of apologizing. Okay?
What kind of apologizing?
You don't even care about apologies.
You don't even
The
care
problem
about
is that like because
So
the
you just
issue
want
is
her
that
to
like
suffer.
she's talked an unbelievable amount of shit to me to strangers in her Discord and DMs.
We're done, right?
That
We're
was
gonna
less
block her.
personal. I didn't
She's
care
never
talking about
coming
that.
back. That's
Yeah,
Probably.
but it's
She would have to come
basically
back
just
as like I did
that
like 12
person.
months at like a Catholic monastery and now I'm like
You know what? This is probably where I want to defend that. I don't even care about none of that stuff. I just hate every time she's on stream. It's always like laugh. I just like, I don't want to hear her.
If you bring Lav back,
But I think he thinks she's a good guest, so I think that's
She
fine.
absolutely is a good guest. If I brought Lav on 9 right now, we'd have 20,000 viewers.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think if you brought her on right now, you wouldn't get grow by more than 1,000.
If what? If Lav came on right now?
13,000. That's a
it's gonna happen. He's gonna do it right now.
No, I'm.
But during the time that I was there, I was confided in. I was told things about Destiny's life and his ex-wife, his now ex-wife. They confided in me together and separately about their marriage and the issues that they were having. And on top of that, during dinner events with multiple people, not just his ex-wife and I, but others, he did admit to things I never thought he would admit to. Things related to politics, things related to this job that he claims to love so much. But remember that Destiny isn't somebody with values fighting for the marginalized. He's somebody who wants the credit for winning a battle.
Yeah, but the people that engage in this sometimes the most are the people that also screech and cry that debate isn't worthwhile, which is why there are people in here screaming that I guess that I'm on speed, and people screaming that I read Wikipedia.
Brother, you've been the one doing the screaming right here.
Dude, I mean, you're the biggest streamers, so you're going to get a lot of people, especially other streamers, criticizing you for stuff.
I'm just saying, just within within this room right here, within this conversation right here, the past 30 minutes, this has happened in here.
Right. I mean, I can't speak for everybody else. You know, I could say, like, from my standpoint, the issue I have with your content in particular is not even so much the way that you debate or even any of your positions, even though I disagree with a lot of the stuff you say. I feel like the community around it, from my vantage point anyway, is sort of the problem, right? Like there's this very much this mentality of like this kind of ironically an echo chamber is developed. And it's when you engage with people, it becomes like this, you know, almost like this project to try and own them or present them as a fool. And then everybody in that echo chamber, like, you know, kind of perpetuates that. And it's all about like finding faults and flaws and little mistakes that they make and then tearing them down and owning them rather than clarifying the position or deepening anybody's understanding or opening other people up to different ideas.
As I tell this story, I want to make it clear that the Miami event didn't actually occur just in Miami in an isolated event. There were also events leading up to it in which Destiny would tell me things, his ex-wife, his now ex-wife, would tell me things. And this helped me build my understanding of Destiny as a character. His flaws, his beliefs, his values, and the things that he would say to me did over time change the way that I saw him. I had initially reached out to him because a fan suggested that I collab with him, and I did not do my research to know who he was before engaging. When Destiny and I eventually went our own separate ways, there was something that he was kind of infamous for saying, and something that I never could allude to until now. He would often say, "How can Brittany see me so much differently than I see myself?" And it's because when these men or women or they thems, when anyone tells you a story about their life and who they are, they always make themselves the good guy, except they forget that when they tell people their life story, the details of their beliefs and their motivations for the way that they treat and manipulate people, I'm taking note, as are you. So I did take note, and my opinions of him did change over time. He could never fathom that it was because of things he had personally told me. Instead, he usually on stream would go into rants about conspiracy theories of all the reasons why I must be anti-Destiny. Maybe I'm colluding with anti-Destiny communities. Maybe I'm traumatized. Maybe it's my mental health. Or maybe it was just the things that he told me. Though it was very clear on who Destiny was as a person, and I really should believe people when they tell me who they are, it was hard to imagine that this person who was so passionate and articulate and seemed to fight for good things was behind closed doors and maybe even honestly on stream a pretty awful person whose behavior was often ignored because honestly, he won debates. That's really the thing that's at play here is Destiny gets away with a lot of his behavior because he's really good at winning, which sort of reminds me of this recent election. How could the American people vote for a liar and a racist? Because he wins elections. And something about that really makes people want to cheer for you. Everybody wants to be on the side of a winner, regardless of how abusive, misogynistic, apologists they are.
You can't have a conversation with somebody who wants to win. He's smart in manipulating people that follows him. But he's not a smart guy. He's actually a f***ing idiot.
He's a contrarian by nature. That's like what he does is like debate and argue. I get along with him. We have a respectful relationship. He's in Miami. We have a respectful relationship. We disagree on everything though, but it's crazy.
Pause. I hate saying this. I hate this. I was talking to somebody else. I was talking to somebody else. In all of my years, God, this feels so shitty. In all my years doing content, I have more respect for him than any other individual.
Oh, fresh and fraud. Yo, Prince is like a. It looks like a. You should see him build momentum. What the?
He is the only person that I've seen that will consistently go into areas where there's so much like laughing and jokes and fun times to be had right here if he was shit on me, but he doesn't. He won't do it.
He's like a monkey. Preacher's over there looking like Magilla Gorilla and Donkey Kong having a baby.
He's the only person I think I've known in like my entire professional career who has like a large like independent career that's
Reason
not like
to do it.
Yeah, that wouldn't do it. Now I'm implicating other people. Like I don't think ABBA would do it, but ABBA's not like in space where people are shooting on me so hard. Him calling you contrarian is when he calls me contrarian, he just means I like to argue a lot, which is true, I do, but he doesn't read it in like the super malicious way. But yeah, I give him a huge credit for that.
You say you're not anti-Semitic. So here's the clip this is the one that he erased from the other day, and then you can tell me if this is anti-Semitic or not. You're sitting with Nick Fuentes, by the way, a known neo-Nazi. You agree with that, right? He's a neo-Nazi.
I have more respect for him than any other individual.
No, I wouldn't agree with you on that.
Fuentes' treatment of me is so bad. I don't understand. That's something he'll have to learn and grow. Not to sound like not to be too self-aggrandizing, but like Fuentes should be worshiping me because I am literally I was the only lifeline that he had to like being able to breach like mainstream political conversations. Like I represented a huge potential opportunity to him, and he just was so bad faith in the way that he treats me. It's unbelievable.
Hey, we control your bodies. Guess what? Guys win again, okay? Men win again. And yes, we control your bodies. It's your body, my choice.
He should have been so conciliatory towards me. And I'm not looking for that. I'm not asking him to be my bitch or anything. But for him to be like relentlessly bad faith against me all the time, I'm like, bro, who the are you? I can put you on a stream in front of 14,000 people. Like I'm giving you your phone number to like Adam22 so you can go to a show. What the would you like burn my shit so hard? Like you're so.
I have more respect for him than any other individual.
So now I'm going to explain exactly what I know about Destiny that made me change the way that I saw him. First and foremost, there was an affair, and this affair was messy. When he confided in me about the affair, when his ex-wife confided in me about the affair, when his mutual friends and I discussed it, it was something that was complicated and gray and messy and involved children, a married person, somebody with a reputation on the internet that, well, was pretty bad. It also was the last person I thought it would be, given that Destiny claimed to be such a liberal and a progressive at some points in his life. So for him to have an affair with somebody who was, quote, on enemy sides felt odd, strange, morally bankrupt in some ways. This is how the story goes, according to what I was told by his ex-wife and him. There was an affair. A longtime affair with a fellow content creator named Lauren Southern.
This stream is hilarious. Well, I'm glad I had a bunch of people earlier. They're like, I am unsubbing. This is disgusting that you're in the presence of a libtard. I'm glad someone's enjoying it. Oh, yes! Someone just... No, you should talk to him. He's obsessed with Donald Trump and it's disgusting. You really need to talk to him.
No, we're just. What does that say? It says "Make America Great Again." Okay.
Oh, is this the whole point? No, he genuinely is like a hardcore Trump supporter. He just said the election was 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago. Okay, and I'm still upset about it. I have a right to be upset. Okay.
Lauren Southern, if you don't know, is quite controversial. She's sort of infamous for shooting flare guns up in the air around migrant boats.
If the politicians won't stop the boats, then we'll stop the boats.
Lauren is also somebody who's been in the conservative circles out of Canada and is considered a trad wife. But recently, she did go through a divorce that allegedly had abuse involved, and there is a child.
Byte. In fact, one of the creators that received these emails was Destiny. I think you interviewed him recently, and instead of his email that he got was, you should confront Lauren during one of your live stream debates and drop on her that she's actually a divorced single mother who failed in her marriage and who stole her child and was cheating on her husband. And he reached out to me and was like, this is really like unhinged behavior. Are you okay? How can I, can you take this to court? Is there anything you can do about this? And that's how I kind of started to find out about the emails.
During this time and during this divorce, somewhere along that timeline, there was an affair. And this affair got messy. One, because Destiny's now ex-wife didn't know it was happening. And even though they claimed to be in an open relationship, there was a lot of lying and deception that occurred. According to them, he had kept the affair secret and kept telling her that nothing was going on. Every time she inquired, hey, you seem odd. Are you okay? Something seems off. He would say, you're crazy. Everything's fine. Everything's great. I'm normal. You're the one who's not normal. There was gaslighting involved. There was lying and deception. All of this time, he was sleeping with Lauren Southern, meeting up with her, collabing with her, and planning to leave his now ex-wife for her. This isn't just a simple, I cheated. This was a deliberate affair that happened, and over a course of time, he deceived and lied to his now ex-wife. And honestly, if it didn't go the way it did, he would have been with Lauren Southern now. But Lauren had a change of heart and decided to dump Destiny for somebody else. He came back crying to his now ex-wife and begged her to take him back, claiming his mental health was impaired. That's also what he told me. He told me that my mental health was insane. You don't understand, Brittany. I was so distraught. I was so mentally ill. I don't know. I was insane. You don't understand. And we believed him. We somehow tried our best to meet him where he was. And though we called him out and said this was unethical, he also claimed he was suffering. And all of us believe in redemption and restorative justice in a sense, at least I do. So I thought, okay, maybe he just needs therapy. So that time that I was in Miami, Destiny was busy on his phone because he was being canceled by another group of content creators for abuse of women. And he sat there at a restaurant with me and his now ex-wife and openly admitted that in order to win this war against these content creators, he would manipulate a woman who was honestly so abused by his community, who has her own problems, but also didn't deserve any of the backlash or misogynistic bullying harassment that occurred because of Destiny's interactions with this woman. But he picked her, used her, manipulated her, admitted to us at dinner that he was doing it, and said, this is the only way to win the war. I have to convince her to be on my side. And I looked at him and I said, this is unethical. This is unethical to manipulate this woman. This is unethical to, quote, win this war. This is unethical. And his ex-wife looked at me and said, and this is the man I married. And though he looked ashamed, he did not slow down.
Yeah.
Well, no, where it would be so big that I won't even go on shows, or I won't have people that are like platforming them. I don't know if I've ever done that before.
No, you only done it with Anna.
You remember the girl I told you about that Destiny was manipulating behind the scenes and we told him it was unethical? Yeah, he's talking about a girl named Anna, the girl he's talking about right now in this conversation. Pay close attention to the way that he talks about Anna being manipulated by others. And if you can, look at my facial expression while he's talking, because in my head, I know that he's manipulating her behind the scenes, as I'm sure others are as well. But in that moment, I had no idea what to do, except push back in ways that I thought were subtle but clear. And of course, what I learned was you can't subtly push with people like Destiny.
Why are you going the extra step?
Because Max, I think, is genuinely like an evil, harmful, abusive person that I don't want to be involved in blowing up anybody around him. I don't want people to think that it's like cool to like platform that and give him like a bigger opportunity to manipulate and abuse people. And because Lav is like his witting or unwitting tool right now to like recruit people in and abuse people. Like Lav was the person that got Anna, first of all, like wired the up, especially now that I've seen a lot of DMs between her and Anna. I see that like she wired the she ramped the out of Anna, and then she connected her to Max.
Okay.
So wait, when Max and you remember when you pulled me into a call with Max and I was like, I had like my hair tied back and I was like, it was like 8 o'clock at night, it was like a surprise, and you were trying to explain to me like who Max was, and you were like, you know, and it kind of like in that moment I looked like an idiot, to be honest, because I was like, did I blow this out of proportion? Do you think in that moment you understood who Max was? And
so this is how people work, okay?
My criticism.
Yeah, no, but you also believe the main criticism that you believe are also like Erudite and other people, where you're like, oh, I think that Steven is like deeply unhappy. Brittany finally saw me off stream, and Brittany finally knows now, I think, where she's like, you trust that I'm not like miserable or horrible about all this shit going on. Like,
no,
behind
you're a masochist.
Thank
who
you.
loves
Okay.
to be beaten up,
Yes.
and you love crying women and men,
Yes.
and you hope that they always come to you and on you and all those.
Based. Thank you.
Hey, do you know what you just did there?
What?
You gave me criticism. I was like, oh, you heard what I said because I care about you. And then you were like, oh, but you also said this other thing. I'm like, I didn't say it. We're talking about this one thing, right?
You want me to give you props when you're criticizing me?
No, you were criticizing me. No,
You were talking about your criticisms of me.
No, you were saying like, I can take this.
Oh, yeah, I can take some criticisms.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah. And
But the main thing that you and Erudite, the last time you guys were here, you were screaming at me.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about this specific thing.
Thank you for your
But you're going to
criticism.
bring up something else to on me.
No, I'm not bringing up the shit on you because that's your main criticism. The posts in my subreddit and the things that people saying, and the message you sent me even earlier was about like, let's get therapy. We need to save you.
I think we should go to therapy together.
What's
That's
that?
what I'm saying.
I think he has a gripe with like Erudite's criticism, and then I think maybe yours similarly, where he feels like you guys are concerned about the idea that he may not be happy on the inside when it comes to certain relationships.
I understand why.
It's the same advice. It's the same advice that you're probably giving as her, but I think he feels like it's just coming from a
the
different
advice
place.
right now, I think he's super happy because he's having everything. But I think if he keeps going in a certain direction, he might lose the things that actually makes him happy.
Like
That's
what?
my.
Like what?
Like Melina and Dan, we're gone. We're
Outta here.
Because he's actually legit scared of things that he does sometimes, and for me, it's a lot of for me to deal with, like being with him, and when he increases like the crazy.
You mean like when he's getting these like
tired.
Twitter dramas or like not Twitter, but like actual like people like making these allegations? Like it's a
Yeah, of course it affects me too.
Okay.
Yes, and no one really ever talks about that, but it does. It does affect me.
Yeah.
So I'm telling him.
That's actually a good point because
Yes,
even
you
though
will-
you're
you
resilient,
will
the
lose
people
certain
that
things
care
in your
about
life.
you probably are actually more.
That's why you have
terrified.
to be Batman. When I do drama, I need to put on a mask.
Yeah, you would need to. But do you ever take that into consideration?
A little bit, but usually
you're
the goal
more
is to-
resilient, and I actually don't care that your fans get upset because at the end of the day, that's their right to. But the people you
people that
choose
are
to have
close
in
to
your
you,
life,
yes.
like me, you're a grown man. If you want to up some stuff, go it up. But for someone who's actually dating you, or maybe even family members, like I don't know if that's actually the situation. I can see how that would be a terrifying thing for them.
Yeah, but the goal is to surround myself with people that are really resilient. And if people don't have a certain level of resiliency, they probably can't get like to a certain closeness of me. Like resiliency is like one of the primary things I choose for when it comes to like close friends and shit, I think.
Yeah. But I would say that like even me and Dan putting up with the things that we're putting up with is still pretty like far out there compared to most people.
Yeah.
You've had us for a long time too. You can't just find someone that you just have a history with just like that. So like you have to like balance that out or figure that out. That's why I'm saying.
Do you acknowledge that? Like there is a certain level of
I
resiliency?
acknowledge it, but when she says that, she's not really saying that. What she's saying is you're too crazy, you need to pull it back because I'm not comfortable with it. That's what she's saying.
But no, that's exactly what I'm understanding, which is like to a degree somewhat.
Well, sure, but then
because she's saying like we've already met a pretty solid threshold for resilience, which I would argue if my significant other was involved in a lot of stuff that you're talking about, I'm very resilient. I would still feel like that's a lot, and you probably should pull it back because I'm like that is a lot. And so you don't think that's valid at all?
It's valid.
Because how many people you gonna meet that can handle that much? Because I don't think I can meet many.
The problem is that like it's not.
Go ahead.
Well, it's not for me to say this, but like I can live my life in a lot of different ways, right? I can be a single person and be okay. Like I can do a whole bunch of different
you
things.
told me on stream you really want someone to
I do. It would be nice. But like that, like there are a lot of things that would be nice, but it doesn't mean I'm willing to make a whole bunch of sacrifices. Like when you say you really want a person that like can be like blah blah blah, yeah, that's definitely true. But I don't want to sacrifice a whole bunch of shit to get that. Like I would much rather be like, yeah, that's the thing.
So let me ask you: you don't think it's a reasonable compromise to say, listen, I'm not mad like a lot of the stuff that you do, but maybe these more unhinged types of people.
When you say reasonable compromise, you make it sound like there's like a set like it can be totally reasonable for somebody to say, I want to eat shit every single morning.
No.
I want to have shit. Yeah, if somebody wants to.
I legitimately think Mr. Girl is like an unhinged person who like
For sure.
would go on a spree. Like
potentially.
Okay, when you invite somebody like that in your life,
yeah,
like yeah, that would probably put a mental strain on a lot of people around you.
For
I think
sure.
For people to be like, yo, I would prefer if you weren't like bringing these people into all of our orbits. I think that's a reasonable thing. Like this dude, like serial killer vibes. Like I'm not joking when I say like I could see him rolling up here and like murking everybody. I really do think that.
Yeah.
And so stay away from crazy people who might eat their girlfriends.
It's too sane. So here's my question, just so I'm not projecting. Are you saying you would rather have Max and Lav in your life than Melina?
Whoa, Jesus, you make it direct like that, but yes.
Yes, he's saying that.
But not like, wait, no, let me clarify
Let him
that.
clarify.
Hold on, because you're talking about marriage. It's not Max and Lav. It's the ability to have like those types of like insane interactions.
Okay, so you would rather have Max and Lav alikes
Yes.
than Melina.
Or than any partner that wouldn't be okay with that type of craziness.
Let me
Yes.
ask you this. Would you say you'd want to be able to keep these people in your life, but not maybe so close to them or not keep them as
Like you
friends?
would turn it down to 80% and still want.
Yeah, so like actually have the interaction with them on stream, but not bring them so close into your life where they're involved with your family and stuff like that.
Maybe.
But after I realized he thought he was too smart for therapy, and it was clear that he was going to allow women to be thrown under the bus at every turn, I realized this man was never going to say it out loud. He was never going to say out loud that he had a long-term affair with Lauren Southern, that he lied to his wife, that he blamed her for the need to have the affair. Because when it came out and everybody saw they were getting a divorce, he never corrected the narrative. The narrative is that they were getting a divorce because she had cheated and left him for someone else, not taking into consideration everything that came before that, not taking into consideration the way that he lies and deceives, not taking into consideration that the time that I was in Miami, while he was busy on his phone arguing with Reddit comments, trying to stop a cancellation from happening, she was crying to me about ways to save her marriage. She spent that whole time in Miami asking me, can I save this? Can I help him? You don't know his good side. You don't know his vulnerable side. He's a good person. How do I help him? Only to find out that this good person that you were advocating for, that you were deceived by, went and threw you under the bus the moment he could. And every time I asked him to get off his phone so he could have a conversation with us, he'd say, I would, but my wife gets jealous if I get more attention than her. I would, but my wife is emotional and unstable. I would, but my wife. At no moment did he take any accountability for the way that he was acting as a bad friend, the way he was socially interacting inappropriately, the way he was manipulating these women. Instead, it was always his ex-wife, his ex-wife, his ex-wife, his ex-wife. And listen, that should have been my cue to leave. I should have gone back on a plane and gone home. But I didn't. And I can tell you that that is a mistake in a lot of ways. But it's what I did. Because I, like many of you, we want to do emotional labor for those who won't do it. And so moving into 2025, let's stop that generational cycle. Let's end that generational curse of doing emotional labor for people who aren't going to do it themselves. I've waited 2 years for Destiny to figure it out, to go to therapy, and to realize he is the problem. And he hasn't done it. And I am sick of seeing women bear the brunt of this man's abuse. And even though Kelly Jean, who is infamous in the community for mocking me, saying that my illness isn't real, and has been cruel to so many people, even Kelly Jean doesn't deserve this abuse. Because 2 wrongs don't make a right. Except that Destiny believes it does. And I just want to make sure that we understand that about his character.
So as heavily requested, let's talk about this Destiny, Piers Morgan, Donald Trump situation. And Destiny, if you don't know, is a controversial political commentator and streamer. And he's been getting a lot of heat for his comments following the Trump assassination attempt. With a lot of the stuff he has said in the aftermath, both on stream and on Twitter, pissing off a lot of people. With this, including comments that he made about the firefighter who was killed during the shooting at the Trump rally.
Fuck the dude, the firefighter guy, Trump, the people that support him. If one of you were in the crowd and you're a conservative fan of mine and you end up, getting blown away or whatever the I'm making fun of you the next day on Twitter.
He's made points similar to that a handful of times, also tweeting about the situation seemingly nonstop since Saturday, with some of the posts gaining the most traction, saying things like, a person in a crowd cheering for and supporting a traitor to this country caught astray, I'm so sad, please. I'm sure Corey and Babbitt are both having fun with each other in hell right now. As well as Donald Trump incited an insurrection and then was granted full criminal immunity for possibly all of his involvement. I have zero sympathy for anything that happens to him or anyone who supports him.
Please note that none of the anger directed at Trump has anything to do with the women he's assaulted. Moving forward, while I was there in Miami, once again, as he was throwing his wife under the bus, throwing everybody under the bus. You don't understand, Brittany. You don't understand. I was losing my mind. So he was allowed to use his mental health as an excuse for his bad behavior. But anytime women in his community are triggered, have moments of vulnerability, they're weak. They're girls. They're cluster Bs.
Look, if you want to keep your life private, that's good. But you can't go around pretending you've done right by the people in your life when
my life is so much more public than anybody on the internet. I think there's 2 things about my life that people don't know about over the past 15 years.
I'm not saying Steven is a bad person. Like I said, I think a majority of the world is good. Okay? But I don't see Steven actually owning the fact that he's bad at relationships when he's giving relationship advice. He gives relationship advice, but he's not great at relationships.
Dude, I can't.
You really think it's a troll?
You're the evil devil, okay? Don't be here. You're gonna make me stop. You're the bad one, okay? That's gonna make me think bad thoughts. Okay, I'm staying.
No, I'm absolutely the angel on the shoulder. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I don't think she's trolling, but I don't know. She has such a wild impression of me that is so far from reality. Even the examples that she gave were so wrong. She literally gave the example. Sneako's open about his cheating. First of all, cheating to these guys is Giga Chad. They think that's cool. He literally talks about how he... I can't even say anything because I don't even know how much he's public with. I can't even say what I want to fucking say. I am so open with everything. Okay, I said I've cheated on Aaron 20 times. I've always said this. I don't lie any of this about my life. I can't lie anything about my life. My whole life is public. Okay. How the did she possibly say this kid is more open than me? He says he's Islamic. He doesn't even know he's never opened a...
Breathe. Okay. I see it. Obviously. Brittany could have a bias with you because she knows about cheating, but then that wouldn't explain why she doesn't have a bias towards Sneako. Correct? That's what's frustrating right now, right?
I don't know how she can say he's open-minded.
The first is, do you I know you talk to a lot of people, and you seem actually quite open-minded to me.
He is open-minded. That is who Sneako is. I want to know if Dr. K thinks Steven's open-minded.
How is he the open-minded one? I don't understand. There's no way. I don't know if she's still is she upset from the conversation and it's just carried over into everything now?
So remember, this man who argues that women and cluster Bs weaponize their mental illness to get away with bad behavior, he is the one who is doing this action. Moving forward in the conversations that occurred, there was a group event and he admitted to something that I never thought he would admit to. Something that directly impacts his political, I think, desires to be accepted by the DNC and by maybe normalized political groups. The way he goes after other streamers for being too extreme. Remember, this man isn't a liberal because his values are liberal. He's a liberal because he wants to win, and he thinks it makes sense to be on that side to win for whatever reason. I'm not sure. You'd have to ask him. But this same man that says he works so hard, the same man that is upset that the DNC and other people won't embrace him the way they embrace others, the same man that complains that for some reason people don't want to be around him, forgets to look at his own actions as maybe the reasons why. And so, there, at the restaurant, in front of other people, for whatever reason, he felt comfortable telling us that he was committing voter fraud. I was shocked. To be honest with you, I didn't think he would ever say that out loud. I think it's a pretty big deal, given his reputation online as somebody who wants to be in politics. And again, I'm not making the accusation. I am telling you what he told us. I'm telling you what came out of his mouth. He's a registered voter in Nebraska. He votes in Nebraska, even though he's in Miami and should have registered to vote there. But he thinks it's better for the Democrats that he votes in Nebraska, as Nebraska is conservative. Again, willing to win at any cost, even if it means cheating. This is Destiny. This is his character. And I think it speaks volumes. I should have left right there, then got on a plane and left. But given the circumstance and considering he wasn't the only one I went to Miami to see, I stayed. I collabed, and then I left. My idea of Destiny changed in my head forever. Because the more I learned about him, the more I realized this is just not a good person, but in a philosophical sense, which is what my channel is based around. All of us are struggling. And if Destiny could face himself and get the therapy he needed, he might just be one of the greatest people. But for now, he's not. He is the Sneakos. He is the Andrew Tates. He's exactly the problem with masculinity and men in these bubbles who claim they care about women, but every move they make is at the expense of those women. Every move Destiny makes is at the expense of anyone who gets in his way. Now, I understand the people in his life see the real good in him, and I think you see it too. There's a charisma about Destiny, same with Trump and Andrew Tate and all these people. There's something about them that feels so authentic, but it is a show. I don't think this video will change a lot of hearts, but I do think the right people will hear it. You might feel comforted because the way the internet has gaslit us into thinking that Destiny is just a victim and that everyone just hates him for no reason without considering the fact that he has ruined, impacted, and honestly hurt so many people and their lives. It can't be ignored anymore, especially moving into 2025. We need to stop doing emotional labor for people who won't do it themselves.
Do you really think they'll move on? They've been stalking you for years at this point. No, because, well, for Destiny, he won't move on because he'll never give up. Like, his anger and resentment will carry on for the rest of his life. Like, he'll only stop, I suspect, if I stopped streaming. But for people in his community, they'll probably get bored. They'll consider it to be stale and they'll move on to the other thing. But he makes a lot of money off of this. So the more I grow, the more my haters grow, and the more my haters grow, the more he can make money off of them. So I don't think he's going to, I don't think he's going to stop. But it's all good. That's neither here nor there. I'm a happy man. I rest easy at night knowing that I'm doing right by others. You know what I mean? You just gotta do what you believe in, you know?
I know in the past I've collabed with lots of not great people, and I have privated those videos because as much as I wanted to meet these people where they weren't willing to do the work, whether they were Sneako, Lauren Southern, or Destiny. So when the Democrats say, do we need an Andrew Tate on our side? No, we do not. We do not need a Trump. We do not need any of these men who are willing to win at any cost. We need good people with good values who want to move the country forward. One of the things that stands out to me about Destiny is he believes he's not abusive as long as he doesn't hit women. That's why when Steven Crowder's videos came out of him abusing his wife.
If you refuse to do wifely things, then I will go pick up the groceries. Hillary, how do you respect a man? Yes. How does a man respect a man? Get an Uber.
Okay, Steven, I can't.
Feeling some constraints?
Steven.
Like, I can't
Steven.
go. Listen to me. You want to walk out right now? Listen to me. I can't go to the gym. I can't go to my parents. I can't call my friends. I can't be home. You're going to take the car and leave me here. Hillary, just think of how boxed in you've made me.
What do you need me to pick up? I'll get it. I'll be back when I'm back.
No, that doesn't work either. You'll be back when you're back. That doesn't work either. Do you understand the difference between my life being set to the second and you going, I'll be back when I'm back?
I love you very much.
I don't love you. That's the big problem. I've never received love from you, and the fact is, when I go, look, I need you to do A, B, C, and D, you just be disciplined about it, you go, no. But I love you more than life itself. Okay. Put on some gloves. No. But I love you more than life itself. That's not fair. That's not fair, and it's disingenuous. Hillary, you're right, we're in this. Become someone, listen to me, day in and day out, worthy of a wife. No, not as a wife. I didn't say as a wife. Hillary, come on now.
I'm not going to engage. I'm not going to engage you.
I hate judging. I hate evaluating like fights from like, or I hate evaluating relationships from single fights. They're honest to God, I just don't have enough information to make any statement about this. It could be the case, for instance, that I mean, obviously, you should never have you up to a partner, Like for this particular clip, it could be the case that it could be that he's like trying to keep her from going anywhere. He's trying to lock her in the house, etc. Like that. Those could all be things for sure. It could also be the case that she's like an ultra super lazy that does nothing around the house ever, and he's getting tired of it. I mean, like we can sit here and jerk off about how evil and horrible somebody is, but like I hate trying to evaluate like relationship status from a fight. He's acting like a child. You don't know that. You have no idea though. You don't know. Like, what if it is theoretically? It could be the case. It could be the case that he just got home and is chilling after recording like a second or third episode from the day and found out that like everything in the house is in disarray or and maybe they've got a maid and she's got like 2 responsibilities and she hasn't even done that. It could be the case, right? It could also be the case that he's just like walking around the house and he's lazy and does nothing. And he thinks that since she has a job, he can boss her around all day to do whatever he wants. That could be the case too, but we just don't know. We don't have any. We have no context. The reality is that I'll tell you this. This is just like a life fact. This is just, I don't know how else to tell you other than you'll learn when you get older. You cannot judge a relationship based on a 3 or 4 minute fight. If you think you can, it's because you're retarded. Full stop. That's it. You just can't. You can't. You have no idea. There are so many types of fights where once you get more information, you're like, oh shit, okay, I understand this, or wow, fucking crazy. Like, oh, okay, this makes sense why this person did that. Like, you can never ever on like a 2, 3, 4 minute thing just evaluate on shit like this. Like, you can't do it. So as long as we don't see someone beating his wife, we can't make any judgments. Yep, that's what I said. See you later, forever. Never, ever unban.
Steven wasn't sure what the issue was exactly. Lots of dysfunctional, abusive couples are this way. And Destiny normalizes that behavior constantly because he knows that that is him.
Maybe sometimes like a level below you. You know what I mean? I just want to be treated as an equal.
I think you get treated like an equal and you start contributing like an equal.
And even if she has a viable complaint about him not pulling his weight, not doing chores, not showing initiative, right? That she has to tell him to take the garbage out or has to tell him to, clean the dishes or something. That's okay. You can have that. She can have that complaint from here to Sunday. Is that an idiom? But that does not justify what she just said. Under no circumstances is it okay to treat a spouse like they are below you. Under no circumstances. So, and then, at the reunion, she's still saying, I'm blunt, I need to watch the tone of voice, but everything I'm saying is accurate and okay, but I just need to be kinder when I'm delivering it. No.
He is similar to the Crowders, similar to the Sneakos, and similar to the Tates. No matter how much he tries to tell you, he debates these people because he isn't like them. Regardless of what he tells himself, listen to what he's telling you. He is telling you every day in those streams exactly who he is. Believe him. The one last piece that he told me that I think really is what garners a lot of empathy is that he is traumatized and that he has suffered in his life. And that if you know anything about his childhood that's public, you know that this boy was traumatized.
If you're making this much money, I don't want to live like right here, right? I like to live like this. My parents lived right at the edge of their income for their whole fucking lives. But I would go and visit my grandma every weekend. My grandma, I didn't know at the time what's like normal or not, but my grandma is like really fucking weird, where she would like buy dogs and then kill them. Throughout the course of like the 8 years that I spent a lot of time with her, she must have had like 20 dogs. I would guess like anywhere from 15 to 20 dogs. But what she would do is she would buy a dog and then she would keep it for like 3 or 4 months, and then like it would do something wrong, like it would pee in the house or it would chew up some furniture, but like she never trained him or anything, and she would get mad and then she would like make up a story about how the dog was sick, or she didn't want to give the dog up because she was worried that somebody would abuse it, and then she would take it to the vet and they would end up putting it down. Here's a really weird thing that happened to me. One of the weirdest things, when I was living with my grandma when I was 17, so we had a little, I don't even remember what kind of dog, so this dog got in trouble a ton. This little dog pissed an unbelievable amount in my grandma's room. Her whole floor next to her bed was coated in dog piss. One of the days that I got up to leave, it was like 4:30, 4:45, I heard the dog pissing in my grandma's room, and I'd never seen it before. And this dog was taking this massive piss. And I remember that I opened my door, and my grandma had her hands on the bed, and she was just kind of like barely like leaning over, and she was just pissing all over the floor. And she kind of looked at me, and I kind of looked at her, and I didn't say anything. And she kind of like grumbled a little bit, and then she like crawled back into bed, and I left, and I was like, holy. So I guess like all of that in the bedroom was just hers.
And my heart goes out to child Destiny. But you're no longer a child. You're in your mid-30s and you want to be considered respectable. Here's your opportunity to be. Will you take it? I don't know. I wish nothing but the best for him. in terms of his mental health. I hope he sees the right kind of therapist to help him. I hope he stops dating and interacting and abusing people in the way that he does. I hope that he protects his community moving forward. And I hope the people in his life are able to hold him accountable in ways that I don't think they have, since he hasn't come out and admitted any of the fault that he's made. Remember that when his divorce was happening, he let the narrative be spun that it came out of nowhere, that she cheated and left him. Even Ray William Johnson covered this story, claiming that that's all that occurred, without ever taking into consideration anything that came before that. In some ways, if you look at the story in a different way, it was a woman in an abusive relationship who finally was able to be free. And that's also true. Regardless of how messy any of these people are, they are people. And I believe in redemption. And I hope they all go on a path to seek that peace and redemption within their own values. I plan to move forward in 2025, making better and healthier connections. I'm going to be more diligent about who I collab with. And I'm trying really hard to do my research before talking to people. I'm okay with political differences, but I'm not okay with a apologist, and I'm not okay doing whatever it takes to win in any political bubble. Last but not least, thank you to my audience who has been here, who has been supportive. And honestly, thank you to the people that sent me messages, both during the bridge burning and even recently, letting me know that you too have been impacted by these communities and by this content creator named Destiny. I understand it's not easy. It's scary coming forward. As many of you guys know, this isn't exactly the most peaceful content creator, and he often brags about they go low, he'll go lower. But I think it's time to say something. And I think it's time to make sure that people know what I intend for my audience and my content moving forward. Because I have been somebody who's been outspoken about standing up for what's right. And I have been somebody who has said, do not do emotional labor for these men. Do not do emotional labor for these people that are willing to take advantage of you. And so I just want to make it clear that I am no longer doing that. And moving forward in 2025, I really hope you don't either.
In my head, in real life I'm in bed, my belly's being fed and I'm okay. I'm just fine, yet all I do is whine, not to you in my mind, cause I know I don't make sense. I've been nothing but blessed, so why's my life a mess? Please tell me, cause I'm sick of thinking, yeah, I'm sick of reaching out for the truth and living life as a fool. Dun, da, 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 da.